February has come to an end. March is upon us, so I'm going to stop and rank all 3 movies that I saw in the month of February, ranked from the worst to the best. Let's go. So yes, I'm going to be ranking all 3 February movies that I saw. And remember, my list is not the right list. It's just my list, and I'd love to hear your list in the comments. Share your ranking of all the February movies that you saw. Without further ado, let's get started. In last place, Paddington in Peru. This is just a disappointing Paddington film. I think that the first film is a good movie, and the second one is a great film. And when the trailer came out, it showed that it would be a jungle-themed Paddington film. Yes, please. But nope, it's just a disappointing Paddington film. Like, I thought that the jungle theme, as I said before, would be like really cool and stuff. Nope, they did nothing with the jungle theme. Maybe you'd see like a couple animals here and there, but still I wanted to see a bunch of animals, a bunch of jungle stuff, and I wanted this film to kind of be like Jungle Cruise, which we got back in 2021, which is a film that I thought was like okay, but it was really enjoyable, and I really liked the whole jungle stuff that they did there. So I wanted Paddington in Peru to be like Jungle Cruise. But no, they just did nothing with the jungle theme, and the villain, terrible motive. Like, I wouldn't even call it a motive, and it's just so weird. Like, the villain, who is the captain of the boat that is taking Paddington and the Browns around the jungle to find Aunt Lucy, who apparently is lost in the jungle. But then he's just one of those guys who wants gold, and he doesn't even want it. He's seeing his ancestors somehow, and they're telling him, you need to get the gold. So he's like, all right, let's get the gold. Choose the gold over my daughter. Who cares about my daughter? And then at the end of the film, and then when they actually like go to the temple of the gold, he just decides, actually, you know what? Choosing my daughter over the gold. Not gonna listen to you guys. Like, you could have done that when you first saw your ancestors, and that doesn't even make sense that you're seeing your ancestors. That is just so weird, and nobody wants to see that. And I get it, it's a comedy film, nobody's gonna focus on the villains. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't specifically do that, but I liked the villains of the first 2 films, especially Hugh Grant in the second film. He was a lot of fun, so I thought this villain would be fun. Nope. And then, actually, at the end of the film, it turns out that he's actually a good guy. As I said before, he chose his daughter over the gold. Could have done that a long time before. He literally actually kicked his daughter off the boat, like the middle of the film, and just kept, like, pushing the boat and stuff, or driving, sorry, and that was just weird. Like, you could have just not done that, not listened to your ancestors. Anyway, that was just a really weird villain, and as I said before, he's not even a bad guy. It turns out that this nun who worked at the home for bears took care of Aunt Lucy, and then, like, put Aunt Lucy on a boat, shipped her off in the water, took her glasses away and stuff. That's what she did. And turns out she's bad and all that, and she just wants the gold, and she's actually a cousin of the other person who we thought was the villain. I just lost interest in the entire film. Like, what? Very weird. Like, nobody would be in shock. Like, we knew she was a bad person from the get-go. Literally, she kept saying these suspicious things. Like, she's trying to be funny about it. Like, she'd be like, nothing suspicious here. She kept saying that over and over in the film. So, obviously, she's bad. No shock there at all. What are we doing? So, didn't like that. And the comedy. That's what we go to see most in the Paddington films is the comedy. The first two films are hilarious. This film, the comedy barely works at all. Like, maybe there'll be a couple jokes here and there, but you wouldn't even notice them until like later and be like, oh, that was a joke. That wasn't funny. So like, sure I had a couple laughs here and there, but most of the jokes did not work, and I was just so disappointed with the comedy. I was disappointed with everything in this film. So yeah, it's like an okay film, just because it is enjoyable at some points, and there's some good moments here and there, but it's an overall okay film. I would give it like a 5 out of 10. I did give it a 6 out of 10 in my out of theater reaction, just because it was a Paddington film. I wanted to be nice to it. No. I'm done with that. It's a 5 out of 10. I could even go 4.5 out of 10. Man, it was just so disappointing. So Paddington in Peru, third place. My runner-up, Captain America: Brave New World. Now, to be clear, there is a pretty big gap between Paddington in Peru and Captain America: Brave New World. As I said, Paddington in Peru is like an okay, kind of pushing it to a bad film, but not quite there. It's an okay movie. Then Captain America: Brave New World is a good movie, a really good film. Like, I gave this on my review 7.5 out of 10. So there's flaws that are keeping it back from being a great film, but still really enjoyable film. Yeah, so I'm not going to talk much about this film because I did do a review for it, but it was a lot of fun. I really liked how it tried to be Captain America: The Winter Soldier, tried to be like that thrilling type. The action, really good. I love that fight scene at the end between Red Hulk and Captain America, or Sam Wilson, whatever. That was a great fight scene. It was awesome. I loved how the villain, like his motive and what he's doing, how he plays that music and it turns people bad, and that makes them kill people. Really liked that whole thing that was going on there. And I loved how, like, Harrison Ford, as the president, like, all he wants to do is see his daughter and stuff. So I really like that. The cameos with Betty, she's in the film. And I forgot to say this in my review, but Bucky, he actually does show up in the film. He's my favorite cameo out of the two cameos. Bucky's my favorite. And it was just really nice to see him, and we will see him again in Thunderbolts in May. But it was really nice to see him. He was like, Sam Wilson, he wanted to take the stuff that Steve and Bucky took, but then Bucky's like, no, you don't need any of that. And yeah, it was fun to see him. And yeah, it was just a really good film. But the flaws, quickly I'll talk about them. Red Hulk, he basically could fly. That was stupid. Like, he could just jump so far. Like, that was really, really stupid. And some of the shots, you could easily tell the green screen is there. Didn't like that. And this is a weird negative. Not really, like, it's not really a negative, but it's just something weird that I noticed. They didn't have the Marvel intro in there. Like, it just said Marvel Studios with that, like, black and white. But it actually never did the full Marvel intro. So I'm very scared. Are they just changing the intro now? It's just going to say Marvel Studios or whatever. I really don't want them to do that. Because they've done that, I think it all started with, like, Captain America Civil War or something. And they've done it since. And I don't want them to change it because I love that intro. I love when I go to the theaters and I see that intro, I'm like, alrighty, I'm so excited. I'm here to see a Marvel movie. I just love that feeling. I just love that intro. And so I really hope they're not changing that. And I really hope to see it when Thunderbolts comes out. And Fantastic Four. We'll see. But please don't change it. And the final, like, negative that I didn't actually talk about in my review is that there's this girl who apparently is a Black Widow. And she is not really a main part of the film, but she works for the president. She goes with Sam and Joaquin on like some of the missions and stuff. So she goes with them, and I'm just thinking to myself, where's Sharon Carter? I've really liked her. She is the um, not the daughter, the niece. Sorry, the niece of Peggy Carter, who is Captain America's girlfriend. We don't need to talk about that. We already know that. But then like her and Sharon and Steve had that kiss in Captain America Civil War. We never saw her again, and then I never actually watched the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show. I heard that was really, really bad, so never got to it. But apparently she turned bad in like a post-credit scene of that show. So I was just a little confused there. But she could have, like, we could have replaced that girl who we have no idea who she is with Sharon Carter, because she is in all the Captain America films except for the first Avenger, obviously. But she's a big part of Captain America. She should be there. Like, she was there at the end of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Why is she not in this film? It does not make sense at all. So I really wish that she was there, as you can see. But yeah, those are the only four like problems I had with the movie. Other than that, it was really, really good and enjoyable. Like, I do not understand the hate this movie is getting. It is not that bad at all, and I don't know what their problem is. But yeah, we don't need to talk about much about this film, but really good film. Captain America: Brave New World, second place. But in first place, The Gorge. Now, I was really curious about this film because it's directed by Scott Derrickson, who did Doctor Strange, which I need to see that film again. I have not seen it in years, so I need to watch that again. And he did The Black Phone, which I have not seen, but there's a sequel to that coming out this year, so maybe I'll watch it for the first time this year sometime. I don't know. But anyway, he did those. He's done a couple, actually, other horror movies. But yeah, and it's starring Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy, two actors that I love. So that got me really curious about this film, and it's released on Apple TV+. I kind of wish this released in theaters. But yeah, so I was really curious about the film. Trailers actually looked really, really good. And it looked like a fun, like, thrilling action-adventure film. All those mixed, just a huge genre blender. So I was excited for that. So then I'm just, like, waiting there for, like, action or adventure. Something like that. But we never get there. So I'm like, what? But then it actually turns out, no. Romance is in there. Plays a big part in there. And I actually loved the romance in this film between Miles Teller's character, Levi, and Anya Taylor-Joy's character. Loved the romance between their characters. And I loved how they're communicating. Like, they don't notice each other, then they do. They're playing chess. They're communicating. Checking if they're okay. They're shooting monsters together with these built-in minigun things. And then finally, they actually go over to each other's towers. And I just loved the romance. Favorite part of the movie. Then they actually go into the gorge, and I realized, oh yeah, the action, adventure, thrilling genres haven't been used yet, so we're getting to that. And I did like that. It wasn't as good as the romance, but I still really, really enjoyed what they're doing in the gorge. They're getting attacked by all the monsters. There's like these weird spider things in there. So they're fighting all those. Then they learn the secrets of what the gorge actually is, what the government's been doing. And Sigourney Weaver's character and a bunch of like military guys go over there, and they're trying to kill them, which they did to this guy who at the start was originally in the tower for a year, and then he was actually ready to go home, then he got shot. He was telling Levi what to do. But yeah, and then like there's that, I wouldn't say battle, but like the final 20 minutes of the film, that was fun. So I just really, really like this film. Lot of fun. And I would like go close to saying it's a great film. Not quite there. Like 7.5 out of 10. I don't know why I keep saying 0.5s. But it is. And it's almost 8 out of 10. But like I just wish they'd done more with the film. Like, even though it was over 2 hours, when the film finished, I was like, that's it? Like, can they do a little bit more? And not so much with the ending scene, but when they were in the gorge, I wanted a little bit more there. And yeah, just a little bit more, not time in there, but like they could have done cooler stuff in there, if you know what I mean. But overall, 7.5 out of 10 film. Really, really good movie. And it is my favorite movie of the year 2025. So far, March is looking really, really good for movies. So we'll see how March goes. But as of right now, The Gorge is my favorite movie of this year. Alright. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to comment your ranking of all the February movies that you saw. And I'll see you in the next one.